Welcome back to Bring On This Shit, Breaking the Cycle and Healing Toxic Mother Daughter Relationships. Episode 2, Understanding the Ego's Influence on Self Awareness. I'm your host, Dr. DeQueen Agape. In today's episode, we explore how the ego affects self awareness within toxic mother daughter relationships. From distorted perceptions to denial of personal responsibility, the ego often clouds our ability to see ourselves clearly and what we're capable of. In toxic mother daughter relationships, both parties may struggle to recognize their own contributions to the dysfunction, instead, blaming each other or external circumstances. Join us as we delve into the barriers that hinder genuine self reflection and understanding. Mother daughter relationships are complex webs of love, influence, and often unresolved emotions. From childhood to adulthood, these relationships shape our perceptions of ourselves and the world around us. However amiss, the love and nurturing toxic patterns can emerge, perpetuating cycles of hurt and misunderstanding. Today, we shine a light on how self awareness serves as a beacon of hope, guiding both mothers and daughters towards healing and healthier connections. To kick off our exploration, let's first define what self awareness means in the realm of relationships. Self awareness involves recognizing our own thoughts, feelings, and behaviors and understanding how these impact ourselves and those around us. In the context of mother daughter dynamics, self awareness becomes a powerful tool for breaking free from harmful patterns. Why is self awareness crucial in addressing toxic patterns within mother daughter relationships? Well, self awareness acts as a mirror, allowing individuals to see themselves clearly within the context of their relationships. In mother daughter dynamics, it's common for patterns to emerge based on past experiences, societal influences, and familial expectations. Without self awareness, individuals may unwittingly perpetuate these patterns, leading to emotional strain and disconnection. By fostering self awareness, both mothers and daughters gain insight into their behaviors and can begin to break free from the destructive cycles. So, how can mothers and daughters cultivate self awareness within their relationship? It begins with introspection and honest reflection. Mothers and daughters can start by examining their own beliefs, communication styles, and triggers. Journaling, therapy, and open dialogue are invaluable tools in this journey. By actively seeking to understand themselves and each other, mothers and daughters lay the foundation for healthier and more fulfilling relationships. How does the ego impact self awareness, particularly in the context of mother daughter relationships? The ego, as mentioned in the earlier episode, refers to the false self and the sense of self that individuals develop through their experiences and interactions with others. In the context of the mother daughter relationships, the ego can influence self awareness in various ways. For instance, if either the mother or daughter has a strong ego, they may struggle with acknowledging their own flaws or mistakes, which can hinder their ability to reflect on their behavior and emotions accurately. This lack of self awareness can lead to misunderstandings, conflicts, and difficulties in communication within the relationship. Additionally, if the ego is overly dominant, it may create barriers to empathy and understanding as individuals may prioritize their own needs and perspectives over those of the other person. Other ways in which the ego impacts self awareness include denial, refusing to acknowledge uncomfortable truths or aspects about oneself, leading to avoidance or self reflection altogether. Defensiveness, reacting defensively to feedback or criticism rather than considering it with an open mind and willingness to learn. Blame shifting, externalizing responsibility for one's thoughts, feelings, and actions instead of taking ownership and examining one's role in the situation. Fear of change, resisting introspection and self examination due to fear of the unknown or fear of having to confront uncomfortable truths about oneself. Ego protection, prioritizing the preservation of one's ego and self image over the genuine self reflection and growth, leading to defensiveness and resistance to feedback. Rigidity, holding on to fixed beliefs, perspectives, and identities which limit the ability to adapt, evolve, and consider alternative viewpoints. Lack of self awareness, being disconnected from one's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, making it difficult to engage in meaningful self reflection and introspection. External distractions, allowing external stimuli, such as technology, social media, or busyness, to distract them from introspective activities and self reflection. Negative self talk, engaging in harsh self criticism and negative self talk, which undermines self esteem and inhibits the willingness to engage in genuine self reflection. Shame and guilt, feeling ashamed or guilty about past actions or perceived shortcomings, which can hinder the ability to objectively reflect on one's experiences and behaviors. Lack of time and space, not allocating sufficient time and mental space for self reflection amidst the demands of daily life, leading to the neglect of this very important practice. Lastly, avoidance of discomfort, preferring to avoid discomfort or emotional pain, which can prevent individuals from delving deeper into their thoughts, feelings, and experiences during self reflection. Overcoming these barriers requires a willingness to confront discomfort, cultivate self awareness, and prioritize personal growth and understanding. Here are some common distorted perceptions that individuals might have about themselves and their relationships with their mother or daughter. Idolizing the relationship, seeing the mother daughter relationship through rose colored glasses, ignoring or downplaying negative aspects and only focusing on the positive, idealizing the mother or daughter as perfect. Blaming oneself, taking on excessive blame or responsibility for any issues or conflicts in the relationship, believing that they are inherently flawed or unworthy of love or approval from the mother or daughter. Believing they're unlovable, feeling unworthy of love or affection from their mother or daughter, believing that they are inherently unlovable or deserving of positive relationships. Comparing to others, constantly comparing their relationship with their mother or daughter to those of others, feeling inadequate or inferior if their relationship does not match perceived societal norms or standards. Seeking approval, constantly seeking validation and approval from their mother or daughter, basing their self worth and identity on external validation rather than internal validation. Fear of abandonment, holding on to fear of abandonment or rejection from their mother or daughter, leading to clingy or needy behavior or avoiding closeness altogether to protect themselves from potential hurt. Overemphasizes on differences, focus excessively on differences in personalities, values, or beliefs between themselves and their mother or daughter, leading to conflict and misunderstandings rather than embracing diversity and individuality. Projecting past trauma. Projecting past trauma or experiences onto their current relationship with their mother or daughter, seeing them through the lens of past hurts or unresolved issues rather than evaluating them objectively. Assuming negative intentions. Assuming negative intentions or malice from their mother or daughter, interpreting their actions or words in the worst possible light rather than giving them the benefit of the doubt or seeking clarification. And finally, minimizing emotional needs, minimizing their own emotional needs or suppressing their feelings in order to avoid conflict or maintain harmony in the relationship, sacrificing their own well being for the sake of keeping the peace. How does denial of personal responsibility manifest in mother daughter dynamics? And what are some of the consequences of this denial? Denial of personal responsibility in mother daughter dynamics can manifest in various ways, such as blame shifting. Both the mother and the daughter may blame each other for issues within the relationship, refusing to acknowledge their own contributions to the conflicts or problems. Avoidance. Either party may avoid taking responsibility for their actions by ignoring or downplaying their impact on the other persons, thus avoiding accountability. Defensiveness. When confronted with their behavior or actions, individuals may become defensive and deflect criticism rather than taking it as an opportunity for self reflection and growth. The consequences of this denial can be significant, leading to ongoing conflict, resentment, and a lack of trust within the relationship. It can also hinder the possibility of resolving underlying issues and fostering healthy communication and connection between mother and daughter. How does the ego interfere with genuine self reflection in the context of toxic mother daughter relationships? In the toxic mother daughter relationships, the ego can interfere with genuine self reflection by rationalization. Individuals may rationalize their own behavior or the behavior of their mother or daughter, finding excuses or justifications to avoid confronting uncomfortable truths. Projection. Instead of examining their own actions, individuals might project their insecurities or faults onto the other person, deflecting attention away from themselves. And avoidance. The ego may lead individuals to avoid delving deeply into their emotions or past experiences, as facing these realities could challenge their sense of self and lead to discomfort. Ultimately, the ego in these relationships can create a barrier to acknowledging and addressing toxic patterns, perpetuating dysfunction and hindering personal growth. Here are some strategies or tools that have been effective in overcoming the barriers created by the ego and self awareness and understanding within these relationships. Therapy. Seeking guidance from a therapist or counselor can provide a safe space for individuals to explore their emotions, behaviors, and relationship dynamics with an objective perspective. Mindfulness practices. Engaging in mindfulness meditation or other self awareness practices can help individuals cultivate greater awareness of their thoughts, emotions, and reactions, enabling them to recognize and challenge ego driven patterns. Communication skills training. Learning effective communication techniques such as active listening and assertive expression can facilitate more open and honest dialogue between mother and daughter, fostering understanding and empathy. And boundary setting. Establishing and maintaining healthy boundaries within the relationship can help individuals assert their needs and values while respecting the autonomy of the other person, reducing conflicts fueled by ego driven dynamics. How can individuals differentiate between healthy introspection and ego driven defensiveness when examining their role in toxic mother daughter dynamics? To differentiate between healthy introspection and ego driven defensiveness and examining their role in toxic mother daughter dynamics, individuals could ask themselves: am I open to feedback and willing to acknowledge my mistakes and shortcomings? Or do I feel defensive and resistant to criticism? Do I tend to rationalize or justify my behavior? Or am I willing to take ownership of my actions and their impact on the relationship? Am I able to approach difficult conversations with curiosity and empathy, seeking to understand the other person's perspective? Or do I prioritize protecting my ego and avoiding discomfort? By honestly reflecting on these questions and being mindful to their emotional responses, individuals can gain insight into whether their introspection is driven by a genuine desire for growth and healing or by ego driven defenses. What role does empathy play in breaking down ego driven barriers to self awareness in these relationships? Empathy plays a crucial role in breaking down ego driven barriers to self awareness in mother daughter relationships by fostering understanding, compassion, and connection between both parties. When individuals cultivate empathy for their mother or daughter, They can better appreciate the other person's perspective, feelings, and experiences. How can individuals cultivate a mindset of accountability and self awareness without succumbing to feelings of guilt or shame in the context of their relationships with their mothers or daughters? Cultivating a mindset of accountability and self awareness without succumbing to feelings of guilt or shame in mother daughter dynamics requires practicing self compassion and reframing negative self talk. Individuals can remind themselves that accountability is not about assigning blame or punishment, but rather than taking ownership for their actions and their impact on the relationship. By approaching accountability from a place of self compassion and growth, individuals can acknowledge their mistakes and shortcomings without dwelling on feelings of guilt or shame. Additionally, focusing on learning and growth rather than dwelling on past mistakes can help individuals move forward in their relationships with their mothers or daughters with a sense of empowerment and resilience. Here are three ways to cultivate a mindset of accountability and self awareness without succumbing to feelings of guilt or shame in the mother daughter relationship. Individuals can practice self compassion, recognizing that making mistakes and facing challenges is a natural part of being human, and treat yourself with kindness and understanding rather than harsh self judgment. Focus on growth. View accountability and awareness as opportunities for personal growth and improvement rather than as indictments of your self worth or character. And set realistic expectations. Understand that change takes time and effort, and be patient with yourself as you work towards a greater self awareness and healthier relationship dynamics. Here are some practical steps you can take to start dismantling the impact of the ego, self awareness, and healing toxic patterns in your mother daughter relationships. Engaging in reflective practices such as journaling or meditation to explore your thoughts, emotions, and behavior in the relationship. Seeking feedback from a trusted friend, therapist, or support group to gain insight into the blind spots and ego driven patterns. Practicing active listening and empathy when communicating with your mother or daughter, striving to understand their perspective and feelings without judgment. Setting boundaries and assertively expressing your needs and boundaries within the relationship while also respecting the autonomy and boundaries of the other person. And seeking professional therapy or counseling to work through unresolved issues, heal past wounds, and develop healthier communication and relationship dynamics. As we near the end of today's episode, let's reflect on a key takeaway. Self awareness is not merely a destination, but a continuous journey of self discovery and growth. By embracing this journey, mothers and daughters can rewrite their story, forging bonds built on understanding, empathy, and love. Overcoming ego driven barriers to self awareness in mother daughter relationships often involves a journey of introspection, empathy, and open communication. It requires confronting uncomfortable truths, acknowledging past hurts or mistakes, and actively working towards healing and growth. By prioritizing empathy, accountability, and self compassion, individuals can begin to break free from their toxic patterns and cultivate healthier and more fulfilling relationships with their mothers or daughters. That concludes today's episode of Bring on the Shit, Breaking the Cycle and Healing Toxic Mother Daughter Relationships. Join us next time as we delve deeper into the ego's influence on body image in the context of the toxic mother daughter relationship. Until then, remember, the journey to healing begins with self awareness. In a minute.